to be afraid. You mean the Al-Qaeda you gave control of Libya to? I want them. No, he's thinking about you. He's on record wanting to shut down our free speech in America. He's talking about you, not Al-Qaeda that works for him. Here it is.
When a member of Al-Qaeda or a similar associated terrorist group is captured, I want that person to be terrified about what's going to happen to them in American custody. I want them not to know what's going to happen. I want that terror that they inflict on others to be felt by them as a result of the uncertainty of not knowing that they can look on the internet and find exactly what our interrogators are going to be limited to.
The law of the land is...
you know, wannabe tough guy thug. It's just like Kim Jong-il, just little sacks, little soft scumbag bullies. I mean, it's a family show. I'm not going to say it. I mean, it's the same thing with the Nazis. Their leadership was a bunch of effeminate trash as well. And the communists, I just can't handle it. God, why do we let demons run everything? Why don't good people stand up against scum like this? America, these people just want to hurt goodness. I mean, look, sitting there, I want the terrorists to be scared. I want them to be terrorized. You become the terrorist, and they know that. They're selling you on how they're going to terrorize you. They're setting the precedents. Do you understand? They are at the highest level of the government, of the illegitimate government. They staged it. They know about Fast and Furious. They know about 9/11, Oklahoma City, all of it. These are dangerous people. Nobody's safe. We're the target. Okay, let's go to Lindsey Graham. Here he is.
The law of the land is that if you choose to help Al-Qaeda, you've committed an act of war against your fellow citizens, and you can be held as an enemy combatant for an indeterminate period of time, so we can gather intelligence about what you may have done or about what you know about the enemy.
What you know about the enemy. And then there's other clips with them going into the fact that it's U.S. citizens. And then you find out they use that term, it's just Al-Qaeda. Remember Bush? We're just listening to Al-Qaeda's phone calls. Then it turned out it was their political enemies, everybody. And it was illegal, and they just said, so what? Nobody gets in trouble. Let's go ahead and go to the next clip of him on a big power trip.
And to those American citizens thinking about helping Al-Qaeda, please know what will come your way. Death, detention, prosecution. And when they say, I want my lawyer, you tell them, shut up.
Your time is expired.
Get a lawyer. You're an enemy combatant, and we're going to talk to you about why you joined Al-Qaeda.
If you're an American citizen helping Al-Qaeda, the only people they've gotten to actually think they're working with the imaginary CIA, Al-Qaeda, are always poor people who are mildly retarded, and literally they've all got about 85 IQs or lower, who they recruit out of the prisons that are the giant modern universities of corruption. And then they're always led by an FBI. Even mainstream media admits it's all setups. And they go and they find some weak-minded person, they pay them all this money. Okay, we're going to deliver you the bomb now. Go put it under the Christmas tree. Remember last year to scare everybody so the government can dominate the news headlines. And that dirty Al-Qaeda, they even want to get our Christmas. And I'm not saying there aren't Muslim extremists. Let's get that straight. The point is Al-Qaeda is as phony as a $3 bill. You got me? This isn't my opinion. It isn't my opinion that male walruses have tusks. It's not my opinion that the Easter Bunny isn't real. It's not my opinion. You understand? There's some things that are bull, like the Easter Bunny. There's other things that are real. The government shipped tens of thousands of guns into Mexico and drugs back into the country. It's all come out, buried in the newspaper. These are criminals, folks. And we all sit here like naive idiots while these megalomaniacs on power trips try to start World War III. And you've got this cowardly little creature about citizens want to see a lawyer. And he's like, you asked for a lawyer? I think, shut up. That's so they can silence any of us they want. The government runs Al-Qaeda. the criminals in government stage these things. It's a fact, folks. Hundreds of pieces of evidence, incontrovertible, and they're all in the intelligence committees. They all know this crap. They all know. And they're trying to sell you on pure evil. Do you have any idea how much danger we're in? Oh, these people are so evil. Let's go ahead and go to Senator Carl Levin. I played this one before because there's a bunch of these clips where it's on record, it does affect citizens, and Obama was for it. And I've had constitutional lawyers on, Bruce Fine, Ron Paul says it establishes martial law. He's in Congress. For those of you in denial, you need to understand, folks, this is really happening, okay? It was just like the Patriot Act. They said, oh, it doesn't affect citizens. Now it's admitted it does. People are like, well, of course it does. It's just Al-Qaeda. All right, let's go to the next clip. Here it is.
And I'm wondering whether the senator is familiar with the fact that the language which precluded the application of Section 1031 to American citizens was in the bill that we originally approved in the Armed Services Committee, and the administration asked us to remove the language which says that U.S. citizens and lawful residents would not be subject to this section. Is the senator familiar with the fact that it was the administration that asked us to remove the very language which we had in the bill which passed the committee, and that we removed it at the request of the administration that would have said that this determination would not apply to U.S. citizens and lawful residents? I'm just wondering, is the senator familiar with the fact that it was the administration which asked us to remove the very language, the absence of which is now objected to by the senator from Illinois?
We got another clip of Rand Paul, who I know and who's a good man, saying, I know you well-meaning senators think you're helping America, but this destroys America. And, of course, Rand's trying to be polite. You can't be polite with dirtbags, okay? These people are trying to destroy everything that makes this country special and protects our families, okay? And look, I don't like having to get up here and tell hardcore tyrants who run murderous operations worldwide that they're pieces of crap. But you know what? It's got to be done, okay? Everybody's got to stop kissing these degenerate old men's butts, okay? I'm here to tell you, folks, okay? I'm tired of it. These are the commanders of Al-Qaeda. Those senators that are supporting all this are all knee-deep in all this stuff. A lot of them up to their eyeballs in it. And I've had it with you. I'm not going to play your hoax anymore, where they put a sock puppet, you know, of Al-Qaeda up and go, give me your rights away or I'm going to get you. I'm going to blow something up if you don't let me take all your rights and steal your bank accounts and take over all these countries. Do what I say. You know, to the American people, like, oh, yes, sir, you're so powerful. Do what I say. Like, I want an Al-Qaeda puppet. I want to show people what they do. Because, you know, here's the globalists. Oh, Al-Qaeda's scary. And I'm like, hey, you know, you're running it. They're like, no, don't look at me. I'll arrest you. I mean, that's what it is. It's just like, oh, Al-Qaeda will get you. And I'm like, look, your arm is running it. I mean, you get them on the airplanes, you protect them, you give them the country's control. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and live like an idiot. I know it's fun at a primitive level to, oh, the Al-Qaeda, it's a guy wearing looks like a big blouse, Obi-Wan Kenobi with a big beard. It's so scary. Oh, my God, they're going to get me. Yes, grope my wife. But it's all aimed at you. Just remember that. And down the road, don't say you weren't warned. Many years from now, after we've gone through this great intensification of evil, let's just not relive it the next time. Please learn from history, future generations. If you're watching this, if they don't eradicate it all from the web with the systems they've got, they can erase everything they want off TiVo, like our show about FEMA camps with Ventura. They can already erase my voice off the entire internet with Shazam-type software, and they're saying in this new censorship bill they're going to do that once someone's deemed a radical, they'll just have programs that erase it and shut down every account on the web. I mean, it's all being announced. You think they're arrogant now? They're a bunch of Kim Jong-il bastards. Okay, I'm going to stop. But I'm telling you, folks, they're dangerous. They're horrible criminals. They're our enemies. I know it's fun to hate the opposing football team, but that's all smoke and mirrors. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. I want to get off this thing right now. I want to turn this around right now. There's an awakening happening. The fact that Ron Paul is dominating, and they've known it all along. The fact that he's been winning all the straw polls and the rest of it, and raising the most money from small contributors. He raised like $5 million in the last 3 days. Last time I checked. The fact that this is going on, and the fact that even in cooked polls, Paul is 23, Romney is 20, Gingrich is 14. Gingrich has plummeted from number 1 to number 3 because people found out he's a complete and total globalist. So we've got that report going on. And then there's a bunch of other polls coming out that show him in second or third. Now, continuing, there's a lot of hit pieces now being reported. And this is an example of different polls that show the massive skewing out there. But they're definitely scared of him and saying he's probably going to win right now. Oh, and hackers, the group Anonymous, which is any cutout the government wants, have announced they're going to target the Iowa caucus so they can try to shut it down. And then now that gives the government the excuse to come in and monitor it and then engage in whatever monkey business they want. But, oh, they wouldn't do anything because the government's there to make sure our elections are sound, even though they've been caught cheating over and over again. Then some ask, well, then why do we politically still get involved? Because we're out there educating people, putting out the issues, and exposing fraud when we find it. We know if we give up and crawl in a ditch, we're never going to have any chance. So we use these elections as a chance to educate. Now, there's been a whole bunch of hit pieces come out in the last day. Gingrich collapses in Iowa as Ron Paul surges to the front. You know, there's the basic facts. But there's an article here out of the Atlantic Wire, kind of the liberal neocons. Why doesn't the Tea Party love Ron Paul? I don't know. He just started it in 2007 with people like myself against the globalists, and then the neocons came in and tried to take it over. And so because he doesn't think the U.S. should be like Nazi Germany and attack and invade every country on earth, he's the bad guy. That's basically what's going on that front. Here's one out of the Washington Examiner. GOP will take the gloves off if Ron Paul wins Iowa. But I've already seen probably 20 articles saying it doesn't matter now if he wins Iowa. Iowa was always absolutely key. I mean, that most of the time meant you were going to get the nomination. But now, to win the very first primary / caucus, that doesn't matter anymore. But they're going to come after him, and it's going to be the same old stuff. Back when he had put his name on 14 different newsletters. And, they said some stuff like, yeah, the rioting will stop in Los Angeles after the welfare checks don't get delivered. Stuff like that. And there you can see Paul Watson's article, Gingrich-linked propagandist recycles debunked racist Ron Paul smear. And the article has the name Alex Jones in the title, when I have nothing to do with newsletters written in 1988. But again, it's all broken down there, even from mainstream media sources, that he had 14 different newsletters at one time. It was like the internet of the age that he would loan his name to, with dozens of writers. It'd be like if something was on INFOWARS.com or JonesReport.com, and then saying, well, it's called Ron Paul Reports. And they admit most of these were supplemental special reports that would be mailed out almost daily that you'd get in like 2 or 3 days when an event happened. And again, you can read the stuff. It's like, yeah, the rioting's going to stop when the welfare checks, don't arrive. Or do arrive. I mean, that's what happened. So there's this big obsession on this, and then they say, oh, one of the newsletters, talked bad about Martin Luther King Day and called it Hate Whitey Day. And then it turns out that in the 80s, when he first got into Congress and then got thrown out, that the only time he said that he, on record, voted for something that was unconstitutional, even though it was just symbolic, it is unconstitutional to make certain days for certain people, a day when you don't go to work. That was the one time Ron Paul did that, and he's always, since the 70s, back when it was unpopular in some areas, talked good about Martin Luther King. I mean, I've seen all the old interviews. I've seen Ron Paul on Access TV when he ran for president in the late 80s talking about Martin Luther King.